My name is Sarah Tarpley. I'm Director of Academic Engagement at Gale. I wanted to welcome you to today's session focused on Gale Business Insights, a new experience. It's still the same tried and true resource that allows you to research, analyze, interpret, and understand all in one resource. So I'm excited to bring to you today an overview of the updates. In our time together today, I hope to review exactly what Business Insights is, cover why we have driven into this new experience, provide a demonstration of all the great new features and benefits of the new Gale Business Insights platform, and then also talk a little bit about how we're different from some of the other business resources that your institution may be familiar with. And of course, we'll leave some ample time for questions. And again, throughout the session, if a question does pop up, please feel free to submit that through the Q&A box, and we will be happy to address throughout. So let's go ahead and get started. For those of you who, might have taken a break from Business Insights, or who just want a brief overview of what the resource contains, I wanted to spend a few minutes kind of opening up with an overview of the content, as well as our legacy experience. So many of you may realize that we have had two business, what I would like to refer to as mega files, in the past, two business products that were largely our largest business resources. So we had Business Insights Essentials, which was one product that we offered. And then we also had Business Insights Global, which entailed all of the Essentials content, but added some global coverage, some country profiles, key economic indicators from the World Bank, case studies, and a myriad of additional periodicals with a global focus. As we navigate into this new experience, we are heading into a single Gale Business Insights. So the new resource basically is pouring all of the global content, the Business Insights Global, which contains the Essentials content. So the Essentials and the global content are essentially being poured into a single new experience called Gale Business Insights. So there will be one offering to both our Essentials and our global customers. Let's go ahead and review the Business Insights content. So at its core, there are a myriad of company profiles. We have over 426,000 detailed company profiles compiled from Gale directories and other company intelligence database details that our editors have been curating and updating for years. So the basis of our company profiles comes from our acclaimed Ward's Business Directory, but we also use other sources to build our company profiles. We also house over 2 million investment research brokerage reports with a 3-year rolling back file. These investment reports are completely unique to Gale. No other vendor really offers investment research reports as we do, and coordinating them specifically with companies that are being profiled in our resource. This is a great advantage because investment research reports cost about $8 per page. So having these PDF pages from a variety of investment houses and banks is a great asset to our researchers. We also offer thousands of detailed interactive Thomson Reuters financial reports. So interactive balance sheets, income statements, cash flow statements, ratios, investment reports, and we also include SEC filings. So detailed information, data, essentially, that can be exported and examined for further analysis in Excel. So I'll highlight that for you today. Additionally, we have SWOT reports from Global Data. As you can see here, here's an example from Liberty Media Corporation. And these SWOT reports are updated quarterly, and we have a wide swath of industries and companies covered. We offer over 16,000 periodicals, journals, and trade titles. So things like The Economist, the Journal of International Academy of Case Studies, Adweek, all sorts of really great business publications to further help users examine companies, industries, and countries. We also have our company histories. So proprietary information published in our International Directory of Company Histories feeds our Business Insights database. This is a great title if you're not familiar with it. It provides a wonderful in-depth snapshot and company history of loads and loads of different companies. We have a wide range of companies covered, and it provides insights into the historical nature of how the company emerged, who their key competitors are, what their place is in the industry, in a nice narrative format, which is very nice to accompany some of the other assets that I've already covered. Additionally, we do provide corporate chronologies. So if you're not big into the narrative content housed in our company histories, you can also look at our corporate chronologies, which essentially provides you with the bullet points or detailed information about a company in a more digestible facet. So that all is yielded from our notable corporate chronologies title. And then, of course, product and brand information is very hard to find, especially for privately held companies. So important that we include our brands and their company's title, and we're providing over 365,000 products and brands from over 80,000 companies. So oftentimes trying to suss out a list of products or brands associated with a company is very hard, and we're able to supply that to our researchers in one fair swoop, tied to company profiles. So very exciting stuff there. More core content we should look at and highlight are our industry profiles. So we have 1,300 plus industry profiles covering all industries, supporting the full NAICS SIC searching and browsing capabilities. We yield our company profiles not only from the research that we've done in our published Encyclopedia of American Industries, Global Industries, and Emerging Industries titles, but by leveraging other subject matter experts and other content profiles. We also include over 28,000 industry and market research reports. So some of the acclaimed ones are from Global Data or MarketLine and Plunkett reports. So the Plunkett reports themselves are just amazing. You know how expensive some of these reports could be. You know, Plunkett reports probably cost upwards of $2,500 to $4,000 depending on the industry. And so having these in PDF format, you know, from these marquee providers is amazing to be able to leverage them. These are also really imperative for students, you know, business school students to become familiar with, because these are the same assets that they'll start to use as they matriculate and go on to doing market research at a company for which they associate themselves with after graduation. So these are our marquee publications that are very important to the business industry. And then, of course, we have market share articles. So our market share reporter content is also included, and we've got 80,000 plus market share articles that are very relevant and provide key insights into, you know, the best of lists, as I like to refer to them. And then the top lists and rankings too from our business rankings annual titles. That's also a very complimentary title to the market share reporter and offers some great insight into the top list. So the top, you know, top 10 automakers of 2022 or something like that. We've got these top lists and rankings from our business rankings annual title, which is also quite handy. And then, of course, we do curate our associations. So providing information for associations for the industrial classifications that are covered in our resource. We provide some key business associations so that researchers can sort of leverage networking opportunities and connections with various business entities and so on and so forth as it relates to the association content. Now, on top of this core content, for those of you who currently have the Essentials product, you will also be layering in with the new Gale Business Insights product, our global coverage. So with the extension or with the new resource, the new product called Gale Business Insights, moving to that single product, right? All of our global content is going to be poured into this new experience. So if you're an Essentials customer, you're going to get some additional content, and that content is listed for you here. If you are a former Business Insights Global subscriber, you of course will still retain all of this wonderful information in the new Gale Business Insights product. So there are over 2,400 unrestricted case studies from various peer-reviewed publications, which are wonderful to use in courses and to integrate into courses for discussion and assignments. We offer a country profile for all UN-recognized nations. So we have detailed country profiles, economic risk reports from the Economist Intelligence Unit, which is another mainstay in understanding economic risk in the business community. So the EIU reports are very essential. And then we also have country economic metrics from the World Bank, which are wonderful to be able to analyze. You can chart and graph those, and I'll show you how to do that today. And of course, a Business Insights global customer had additional periodical content. So moving the Essentials customers over into the new Gale Business Insights experience, you'll layer in some additional business journals and periodicals throughout the experience. So why are we doing this? Why a new experience? Gale has been working over the last couple of years to unify our platforms. So many of you may be familiar with other Gale resources, such as Gale Academic OneFile, our in-context products, most notably Opposing Viewpoints, which is used so heavily in academic curriculum, but also our ebook platform and our primary sources. They all operate on a unified experience. And so we wanted to take our time because there's so much rich content in the business products and so many different providers and partnerships that we yield that content from. We had to take our time to re-articulate that content in this unified experience. So when we moved Gale Business Insights over to the new experience in December, you are going to have a consistent user experience across all of your Gale resources, our databases, ebooks, and primary sources, and now joining us, the Business Insights product. So the benefits of this redesign, really they're quite simple. And as I navigate through them, you'll probably agree. But I think one of the key reasons that we have migrated Business Insights to this new experience is that we want to be able to support multiple points of access. We realize that students are coming in from all sorts of different points of access. They could be coming in from a discovery service into a document within a resource. They could be coming in from your a direct link on your library website. They could be coming into content and embarking on content from a MARC record in your catalog. So there are numerous ways in which they can find their entryway into content in any Gale resource. So we want to be able to support multiple points of access with an intuitive design. So regardless of where a student enters, they automatically can quickly orient themselves within a Gale product and understand the tools and the utility of the platform because of the consistency among resources. We also want to foster critical evaluation. So the new search interface focuses on the data points needed to help users identify the content most relevant to their needs. So I think you'll see that quite heavily as we sort of look at this through a business lens, right? You oftentimes need key information when you're evaluating a company. And so we'll show you in this new experience how we're highlighting that key detail and allowing students to interlink from company to industry to country to get a full understanding and interpretation of business at a global sort of environmental scan, if you will. We also know that modern interfaces definitely promote engagement. Whenever I stumble upon a website or an experience that looks outdated, I always question the authoritative nature of the content. So of course, by moving and migrating all of the great Business Insights content over to a new experience, you are going to build a level of comfort and confidence with your students, and that's what we're hoping to accomplish as well. So we always want to keep our interfaces fresh. And then, of course, being able to research smarter, not harder. So I think you'll be fully impressed with the interwoven nature of the key assets of the content that we have in a business resource. And I'll showcase for you how you can really kind of locate key details, key data, key elements for business projects to sort of more quickly get to the user outcome that is so desired. So we'll kind of highlight some of that. And then, of course, one of the most important, I think, to me personally, are the accessibility improvements. You know, we are nothing if our products are not accessible by users of all abilities. And so I really do applaud our organization's commitment to accessibility. And so there are just tremendous accessibility gains as it relates to the Business Insights product as we've migrated it to this new experience. And then also being on the unified platform experience, we can go under the hood at any time. So should we need to remediate something quickly, we can do that in our central sort of back-end system, and that will effectively help accommodate basically or fix the issue in all of our resources in one fair swoop. So there are some definite accessibility gains that we're super proud of as well. So let's take a look. You'll notice here on my screen that in your current implementation of either Business Insights Global or Business Insights Essential, either one, whichever resource that you have, you will be able to click on an orange button labeled Try the New Experience! Exclamation point. And when you click on that button, you will reveal a Try It Now link. And when you click on that link, essentially, you're going to be taken to the new Gale Business Insights experience. I'm going to go ahead and launch into that experience now. This is the new Gale Business Insights product. It is quite snazzy, and wow, I mean, just a complete difference from the predecessor. It is a wonderful experience. Again, large part, a lot of key accessibility gains. You can notice that I'm navigating just with my keyboard. So there's keyboard assistive navigation throughout that you can utilize. It's also maximized to engage with screen readers and other devices. So very excited about that capability. Additionally, you will notice straight away a basic search box on the home page, at the top of the home page. And in the center of the page, there are some highlights. So these are some of the most searched, most utilized pieces of content and topics. And so here, what we're doing on the homepage is just sort of highlighting some of the most searched companies and providing users with quick links directly into, let's say, those company profiles or to key publications or some of the key topics that are searched for in our business resources, or maybe some of the most searched industries and countries, and giving people quick links into those profile pages and those results, search results as it relates to different business topics and so on and so forth. You also see coinciding with each category, such as most searched companies. On the left-hand side, you see the ability to kind of browse all companies if you wanted to. So you can certainly do that, and there are different facets and filters that you can use. And all of these companies are hyperlinked as well, so you can dive directly into those. So we'll talk a little bit more about this homepage, particularly some of these options here, compare and browse, a little bit later on in the program. Let's talk a little bit about this basic search box. As a basic search box, you can enter a company name. So you could type something like Chipotle Mexican Grill. You could type it out and literally spell it out. You could put a ticker symbol in there, like CMJG, which is the ticker for Chipotle. You can tell I'm hungry. You could type in a topic. You could type in a country, like if I started typing Japan. You could type in an industry by name or by NAICS. So if I wanted to type in a NAICS code, I could certainly enter that in here. So you have a lot of different options, and you saw as I was doing those search examples there that the search assist functionality, which is brand new, sort of helps you kind of disambiguate between, countries, industries, topics, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to search for a company first to start us out. So I'm just going to actually search for Volkswagen, and I'm going to go ahead and just choose Volkswagen AG because I know that this is the company that I'm interested in. So this is what we refer to as a company profile page. The one thing that I love about this company profile page as we pan down a little bit is that you can just see the wealth of information on this page that is relevant to Volkswagen specifically. This is a great asset. If you are teaching a business course, let's say, and your students are doing a case study related to Volkswagen, you could, as an instructor, grab this get link, which is a permanent URL to the company profile page, and you can incorporate that into your learning management system. So you could say, yep, as you're discussing this case study in groups, here is a very valuable company profile that you could examine for further information and launch point for your analysis. So great way to do that is leveraging the get link functionality, which creates a permalink to this, and it could be included in a course syllabi or a learning management system. And you'll see that get link functionality throughout the page. Now, when we're reviewing the company profile, I just want to point out some key details, right? It displays a brief company overview, so you can get your bearings right. Is this the Volkswagen entity that I was looking for? So the company overview is sort of like level setting the company itself and describing the company, but you're also getting key things like a link to their website, link to their social media, which is really cool. So if I just wanted to kind of bang into their LinkedIn page, I could certainly do that in one fell swoop to get an idea. So if I'm a student, I'm looking for a job post, graduation, I could pop right into their job post right there on LinkedIn. And then you have other social media channels too. So if you're evaluating their marketing strategy, perhaps you want to investigate their YouTube or their social media strategy. Perhaps you want to go into their Twitter account and see what's happening there. So a lot of great key details here labeled out for you. You also have some links throughout. So for example, if you wanted to understand their hierarchy, the company hierarchy and the subsidiaries associated, you certainly have a list to those. And notice again too, that these are all hyperlinked as well. So you could get to these company profile pages in one fell swoop. So subsidiaries, where their headquarters is located, what country they operate in. And so here you have the link to the Germany company profile page, number of employees, their ticker symbol, and of course, the exchange for which they're traded, and then key executive officers listed here and dates founded. Down below, you have other assets, right? I talked a little bit about that narrative company history from our International Directory of Company History. This is amazing, right? So here you have a long, detailed overview about their Nazi era origins and how they emerged post-war, and kind of their ups and downs. They've had a lot of recent lawsuits and so on and so forth. And you get some information about key competitors in this article here. So notice straight away, I mean, just the articulation of this alone, there are a lot of key features that I wanted to highlight. Again, consistent with other Gale resources, but here, this is where we're allowing students to more quickly and easily critically evaluate this article content, right? Who the editors are, the date it was published, where it's from, what the document type is, and then some great assets here where you can translate the content into a number of different languages. You also have accessibility tools to increase and decrease font size. You can change the display of the font to make it more digestible according to your needs in terms of comprehension. So you can change the contrast, you can choose a different font style like open dyslexic font, and you can change the line spacing, wording, etc. as you need. You can set these once and they'll stick with you. So, whatever article you navigate to next, these settings will stick. You can always go back to your defaults if you would like by clicking the back to defaults area here. You certainly have those options. And then of course, the ability to hear this article be read out loud. You have the read speaker, text to speech opportunity here. And this also allows you to download the content in an MP3 file format. Additional accessible tools are in the settings area where you can change the speed and so on and so forth in terms of the article. You can push out content too to cloud-based drives, Microsoft OneDrive and Google Drive. And then of course the traditional print, email, download, etc. are held here. Citation tools are now in the top right corner in the sticky toolbar here. You have out-of-the-box citations, MLA, APA, Chicago, and Harvard, and then the ability to export to third-party bibliographic software entities should your institution should subscribe to any of those. And then some of the key things, other tools kind of repeated up above. You also have, with this new experience, the ability to kind of highlight and note take. And you can push these highlights and notes. You can save them and push them out to your cloud-based drive. So if you wanted the full text of this company overview from the International Directory of Company History, and you've spent time marking it up with your notes and highlights, you could push that out very easily. You could download it with your highlights and notes. You could push it out to OneDrive or Google Drive if you so choose, which is great for collaborative opportunities and projects that might be at hand. All right. So going back to this company profile, after we covered some of those basic tools, I'll highlight some of the other key assets on this. I talked a little bit at the forefront about the difference between the company history, right? The company history from International Directory of Company History is going to be very narrative in length. The chronology is going to be a little bit more bullet pointed. So great, I think, for many of us who have a low attention span, just gives you a nice kind of chronological kind of overview and insight into the history of the company. Here's that brand information. So if you're looking for a list of brands associated with the company, you have that to scroll through, again, coming from Brands and Their Companies, a title that we publish proprietarily. Leadership is also going to be highlighted for you here. So, depending on the documented leaders at the organization, the list can be very long or it can be short, but leadership will be exhibited here, and you can kind of get to those leaders from this link. And then most importantly, I think, and most helpful to many business assignments is that SWOT analysis. So you can get to that SWOT analysis very easily. This is, again, licensed from Global Data, so a very, a premier SWOT provider here. You can print and you can download this content very easily using the image viewing tools here. So this displays slightly different than the other articles that we saw. Only because we have just the image, right? We have just the PDF pages of this. And so you do have the ability to kind of download those using the image viewer tools here. And you can also kind of page through the table of contents using this image view tool as well. All right, so the SWOT analysis is very helpful. Now let's get into some of this fun stuff here. Right below the key company details, you are going to have all sorts of very cool financial performance indicators, which is amazing and a lot of fun to look at. So I'm going to pop into, as an example, there's all sorts of things, right? So there's balance sheet, the cash flow, income statements, ratios, and then we can talk about investment reports in a second here. But let's pop into just this balance sheet as an example. So I'm going to go ahead and navigate into the balance sheet. And this is specifically, again, for Volkswagen, because that's the company that we originally searched on and its profile we landed on. So here within the balance sheet view, you have a couple of different options, right? You can choose your reporting basis, whether you want it annual or quarterly, and then the reporting periods that you prefer. The other really cool thing, too, is that you can compare this company with other companies, which is really neat to do. So you could compare it with its competitors, direct competitors. For example, I could do Ford Motor Company, if I can spell. I could do something like that, and then look for the appropriate ticker here. So I'll choose that one, the headquarters, and then I'll also choose maybe something disparate. Maybe, getting back to my hunger, maybe I'll do that Chipotle Mexican grill. Here we go. Maybe I'll do that. And so as you're adding and comparing these companies, this is a great exercise for students who are examining a portfolio or wanting to examine competitors next, an investment portfolio or competitors side by side, where you can start to look at some of the key metrics being highlighted, total assets and liabilities, and so on and so forth, and really assess the performance of these entities. You also have this option here to enable all metrics, which gets into the really detailed balance sheet. So you can toggle that on or off according to your preference, and that would apply across the three entities that you're comparing. Here's where it gets fun, right? So this information is being powered by Thomson Reuters. You can see that noted down towards the bottom. So it's coming from a truly authoritative source. You can click this blue button to download the data, and then you have an Excel spreadsheet So imagine you're a professor and you want to assign an assignment, right? It's an accounting class or something like that. You can look at, I shouldn't have opened that so far. Let me just do that. So you can look at this balance sheet and you can look at all of the assets that are itemized on the left. And let's say, you're an instructor, I remember this when I was in business school too. They would take out key, things, and you'd have to go in and analyze like what was wrong or what was missing from a balance sheet. So an instructor could prescribe something like that. So it's fun for assignment creation, right, where you have this manipulable data in CSV or Excel file format, but then also great for students who might want to chart things, right? Chart different variables that are exposed in the balance sheet, the cash flow or the ratios. You can do that deeper dive analysis and have that interactivity with the data. So that is just a tremendous kind of asset. We've always had this interactive content in the legacy business insights experience. It just was a little bit harder to find. And so now it is highlighted very, very well. And it's much easier to kind of get at a glance details as it relates to some of the financial performance and the key indicators about how a company is operating financially. So that is some unique content there. Let's also talk a little bit about the investment reports. So the investment reports, if we pop into this, this again is going to be provided by our partners, Thomson Reuters, and you'll see a myriad of different investment houses and analysts and banks being represented here. So we've got Reuters Investment Profile, Value Engine, Trefis, and so on and so forth, and we've got a way to page through the bulk of the content. But again, these investment reports are very unique to Gale. These are all in PDF file format from the original provider. On the street, they probably cost about $8 per page. So again, great detail and great insight into the financial performance of a company. All right. And then notice too, once you're in any of these financial performance areas, you can navigate to things like the SEC filings and so on and so forth. And then you can always go back to the company profile page when you'd like to. All right, so a lot of very cool financial information. Here too is another graph. Here's one example of a chart or graph, however you want to reference it. This is financial performance over time that you can kind of start to look at and notice the interactivity here when I start to kind of highlight on some of the metrics. This chart can be viewed in full screen. You can download it in a variety of file formats. And then down below, as you're evaluating Volkswagen as a company, one of the main things that students tend to look at or want to analyze side by side are competitors. So what we're doing here is we're linking to the competitors based on, competitors with similar revenue. And we're listing those competitors out here with links to their company profile pages so that if you wanted to do that deeper dive analysis between Volkswagen, let's say, and Toyota, you certainly could. We also have this compare companies link here, which allows you to, again, compare up to 3 publicly traded companies against, Volkswagen. So again, you could type in, the company that you're looking for, or the ticker symbol that you're looking for, and you could certainly locate whichever entity that you wanted, and you could start to chart things like revenue and employees over time, and so on and so forth. And again, this is available in a chart view, and it's also in a tabular view as well. And again, those download capabilities are immense in terms of being able to download these things in various file formats, Excel all the way through up to image file format. And that would hold true for the interactive graphs that you see here. You can also zoom in and out to get a quicker view of all of that as well. So let me just kind of go back. Oh, let me go back. I wanted to show you one other thing here. My apologies. I know we're going to be short on time here because there's so much to look at, but wanted to just kind of touch base a little bit about the organization of these profile pages. So again, being on this Volkswagen company profile page, I wanted to just kind of point out how all of that other content that I mentioned at the kickoff of our session is matched up to the company profile. So down below all of that key company detail, the financial performance, the investment reports, et cetera, here's where you're going to get into a variety of different articles related to the company that you're researching. So whether it's the market share reports or the case studies associated with this company or the market share rankings or video or news, et cetera, you have the ability to kind of go in here and navigate to this content. You'll see that they're organized now into buckets where we kind of showcase a few of the items, and you can dive into any one of the content buckets and kind of either narrow or filter your results over on the left-hand side using various subject terms or publication titles or whatnot. You can change the sort option if you'd like, but then this is where you can kind of jump into these articles and these assets. And again, very similar view and same tools as what I showed you previously with that International Directory of Company Histories essay. Notice too, well, actually, I'm just looking at the time. I'm going to go ahead and migrate over into a different section of the product itself. So I'm going to go ahead and dive into that Chipotle profile here. And I wanted to show you this just for consistency, right? We were at Volkswagen, which is an automotive company. Now we're at Chipotle Mexican Grill, which we know as sort of like a limited service entity. But notice the profile is laid out very similarly. You have the competitors, you have the industry information, and then the company articles down below. One of the other areas I wanted to kind of dive into off of the company profile page is this industry area. So here, we often know that if you're evaluating a company, you wholly have to kind of understand what the sector is doing or what the industry itself is doing and how it is performing as a business student. So being able to hop over into an industry profile page is done very easily. You can connect the company to the industry, and all of this is hyperlinked. The primary industry for this particular company, Chipotle, is highlighted in light blue, and then sort of related industries are linked as well. But let's pop into that main industry here, limited service restaurants. So once you're on an industry page, there is just a lot of really interesting and relevant information that you can find here. So similar to the company profile page, you're going to get key details laid out before you, right? The annual revenue in terms of the industry, number of employees, and these things are defined. So number of companies. This is actually just referencing, I should say, referencing the number of limited service restaurants we have covered in the Business Insights database. So we have 609 covered. And the largest company by revenue covered in this limited service restaurants area is Doctors Associates, which is actually Subway. They own the Subway franchises. So that is Subway. You get the industry overview, and then here are your industry reports, which are key. So I have mentioned some of those Plunkett reports, but we have all sorts of industry reports available from a variety of sources, and you can pop into any of these reports. Again, they display in that original format since it's licensed content here, so you're supplied with the original PDF from the publisher, and you can get into this information. And there's just a ton of great content that would give a student just a full, deep understanding of the industry. So you can download and print these as you so choose. So again, key industry information and industry reports profiled here. And then I like this really fun area here. This is where you can locate top companies by revenue. So globally, those are listed out before you, and notice the deep linking, right? Like, so you can link to the company profiles and the country profile pages. Now, what if I chose something like Mexico as an example? When I choose Mexico, you can see the top companies by revenue listed for you here, and I can get to those company profiles and understand those companies deeper by linking into the company profile pages. But if I was curious just about the economic risk of operating businesses in Mexico, I have a link, as you see here to the right, to the Mexico country profile page. Now, before I click into this Mexico country profile page, I'll just kind of carry on and just also illuminate that for the industry profile pages, you also have key articles associated with that industry listed down again below on the industry profile page. All right, so let's link out to Mexico to understand a little bit more about the global risk of operating a business specifically in this country. When you're on a country profile page, you're going to get, again, key economic indicators loaded up for you here, so you understand, kind of what the socio-economic status is and what's happening in Mexico itself, a country overview, and you have also additional market reports. So here's where that Economist Intelligence Unit country overview comes into play. So for this, we have processed both the HTML as well as we are offering the publication PDF too in a view. So this is, again, great content that talks about, I'll illuminate this a little bit more, all of those things. Like, this is the outlook for 2022 to 2026. So all of those things like political stability, monetary policy, all sorts of external factors, politics, economy, things that would impact a business operation are all provided for you in that Economist Intelligence Unit country overview. So you can go do a deep dive and get a better understanding. And then, of course, you have country comparisons to do as well and to play with as well, and articles about the country down below. We'll pop into this comparison tool just to show you how it differs when you're looking at a country. We'll show you how this differs a little bit than when you're comparing a company, as I had showed you previously. So when you're comparing a country, let's say I want to compare Japan, and I want to compare Mexico, and I want to compare the United States. I could easily select those countries or nations, and then I could choose my metrics, right? So if I wanted to look at GDP, I can certainly do that. Unemployment rate, population growth, I have all of those, and I'm able to kind of do that. And notice the key down below, if I ever want to extract one of these from the comparison, I could do that. I can get rid of Japan and just look at Mexico and the United States. And again, I can zoom in and out, and I can highlight, sort of key variables here to get a better understanding. And again, you have those download capabilities. So great for global economic analysis and risk assessment in terms of business operations and understanding how businesses operate in different countries. So again, lots of different ways to search. There is an advanced search. I'll close out just kind of by summarizing the other options available in terms of searching. The advanced search has some great features, the ability to kind of use a variety of indices to formulate sort of more complex or narrow searches. You also have the ability to sort of limit to a specific content type. And then what I love here too is limiting companies by revenue. You have that option here in advanced search too. You can also get to other searches and browsing of different entities or content components of business insights from advanced search, which is nice. And if I navigate back to that homepage one more time, I'll just show you a couple of other things here. This browse icon allows you to browse companies, industries, countries, or publications. So if you want to quickly get into browsing any of these entities, you certainly can. And then topics and glossaries, so topics being covered, you can see those illuminated for you here. Those are kickoff sort of predisposed searches. The glossary defines business terms, which is easy to navigate to. And then you can also get into those financial reports and investment reports as well fairly quickly using this browse tool. So if you have an isolated piece of content that you want to find quickly, the browse option could be helpful to you. And then the compare option too just allows you to quickly go in to compare companies, industries, and countries. But you saw how you could navigate to that from those profile pages as well. So a lot of really great ways to interrogate the content in the product itself. And also a much appreciated thing too is search history. I know people like to have their search history, particularly when they're doing longitudinal research. So you have the ability to kind of navigate to your search history. Your search history will be session dependent, so it'll clear out once you have vacated the browser or the session. All right, so that was a lot to cover. I hope you enjoyed that nice overview. If you have like specific detailed questions about like specific content assets, because there's so much housed within the resource, feel free to reach out. I'm actually going to put up on the screen here an email box. So if you have a specific content asset that you're inquiring about update status on, feel free to email Gale at academicoutreach.com at cengage.com, and we'll definitely address that for you.